What's up, family? Maisha was just 16 years old when the officer inside of a Los Angeles detention center began to take interest in her. At first, she said he was friendly and she would run errands for him, including delivering paperwork to his office. Then, when no one else was around, he started grabbing her. She tried to avoid being alone with him, but the groping and sexual assault escalated, she said, adding that he once assaulted her when she went to pick up her inhaler. Maisha, who was incarcerated in 1997, knew the assaults were happening to other girls, but she never considered reporting it. She recently told The Guardian, "If you tell on staff, then the other staff are going to treat you wrong and say you're lying." She said, "I wouldn't have told on anybody. It was snitches get stitches. When you grow up like that, that's all you know until you learn something different." Now 42, Maisha is speaking up for the first time about the abuse she says she endured while in prison in America's largest juvenile system, and she is far from alone. Nearly 300 people have come forward in a lawsuit against LA County detailing claims of sexual abuse by officers in juvenile jails spanning from 1972 through 2018. That's 46 years, people. The case paints a disturbing picture of systematic misconduct and violence against multiple generations of children in the most vulnerable circumstances. Some, get this fam, as young as 10 and 11 years old. Staff sexually violated children in their cells, bathrooms, hallways, medical areas, and solitary confinement throughout more than a dozen boys and girls detention halls, the suit says. Some victims were handcuffed when they were assaulted, and officers frequently intimidated victims into silence and submission, saying they'd be punished in isolation, get longer jail time, or be permanently separated from their families if they spoke up, according to the 359-page complaint filed in December. While some of the overwhelming volume of testimony is from decades past, scandals over the last 2 years suggest that the mistreatment and neglect of the children behind bars in LA is not an historical problem. On the contrary, the crisis has recently worsened, even after years of scrutiny and oversight. It's time for these uncivilized mutts to be brought to justice. So let's address the elephant in the room. It starts at home. Even before you ever procreate, that's where it starts. So what do you mean, Willie D? Okay. Your mama and your daddy give you a certain set of values. Usually, whatever you're conditioned to be, that's what you're going to be. There's always the exception. I was an exception. Many of you were exceptions. So there's always an exception. But usually, whatever you are conditioned to be, that's what you're going to be. Whatever environment you're in, you get used to that environment. That's what you're going to become. That's what you're going to be. Everybody start off innocent. But then you got these people that are called parents. They hook up on lust and one-night stands, and they're not compatible. They don't even think about kids and how to raise them, the proper way to raise kids and stuff. They just want to bump and grind. Because, damn fools get horny too. Ignorant people get horny too. Loud, boisterous, selfish, crazy people get horny too. And they have sex. Last thing they're thinking about is being responsible. So next thing you know, boom, you got a baby. 2 lay down, 3 get up. You got a baby. and you ain't got the first clue as to what to do. Talking about putting a baby first? Talking about being responsible? You ain't even responsible for yourself. How in the hell are you going to be responsible for a baby? Now the baby crying, and you want to go upside the baby head because you're trying to get some sleep. Or you just tired of being responsible. You're just tired of being an adult. You're tired of adulting. So, you treat the baby like trash. And then that baby grows up angry. And that baby starts to rebel. That baby ends up on drugs or in a gang like Maisha. And that baby's mad at the world. And that baby takes it out on the world. That baby gets in a jam, get the head knocked off, either get caught up in a juvenile detention center, in a prison, or they end up dead, or end up strung out on drugs. And now the cycle repeats itself. That's what I'm talking about. Start day one, figuring out if I want kids, first and foremost, before anything, let me make sure that I'm right with myself. I'm of sound mind, body, soul, myself. And then let me pick somebody I feel like I can grow with, I can build with, who would be a responsible mother or a responsible father. And then let me make sure that before that baby comes, that I can afford them, should we decide to have those babies. You see? So these kids end up in these juvenile facilities, and they do get violated more than you could ever imagine. 46 years in LA County, you're talking about thousands of children. These only 300 told their story, but this is told their story in the lawsuit. But thousands of children violated by these uncivilized mutts who were supposed to be protecting them, who were supposed to be looking out for society, destroyed these kids' lives and then sent them back out to destroy other people's lives. All of these uncivilized mutts need to go to jail. And then when they're done with jail, they need to go to hell. This is why it's important to protect your babies from this system. Keep your babies out of this system. And you don't keep them out by babying them either. You give them the real. You tell them what's real. You make sure that when you're raising them, that you hold them accountable and you don't reward bad behavior. Because rewarding bad behavior is just as bad, many times, as not rewarding good behavior. You understand? You got to make sure you sow into these babies, because children are just like bank accounts. You get out of them exactly what you put into them. No more talk.